ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're going to talk about introducing coralline algae to your reef tank. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now, I've been asked a ton of times of how do you get coralline algae in your tank. People love the purple on the rocks. Now, you can pick up like the coralline in a bottle. There's that one little helix on a few different brands I've seen that have little particles in it. But honestly, I find the easiest way is to actually introduce it from another reefer, from another friend. Have an established coralline algae that you add it to the tank. It's not going to come out of thin air. It has to be introduced. They can come in on a frag plug, a snail shell. In this case, we have a snail shell that is already covered in purple coralline algae. Now this is from a very established tank, and we got tons of the purple. Now what we want to do is get this to kind of flake off onto it. So one of the things that I find that works is actually just rubbing the shell on the rock. And as you do this, it's going to flake off chunks of the coralline algae and kind of spread it throughout the tank. So we're going to do this through different parts of the tank. And what this is going to do is just help get those spores of the coralline algae all throughout the tank. And over time, you should start to see a lot more purple grow all over the place. Now, I've also seen people scrape some off a back wall and you can get a nice big chunk and break that up, but sometimes that has a little more potential to have pests with it. I find if you have an empty snail shell, that tends to have less pests on it and tends to be a really good way to do it. This is actually how I started my original coralline algae like years and years ago, and then after that it's just kind of moved from rock to rock and introduced a chunk into the tank. Now again, if you also have a rock from someone else's tank that's covered in it, you can put that in your tank and it will spread over time, but just having that little chunk of it and just rubbing on your rock, getting those little tiny spores all over it is the best way I've found to help get that coralline algae and get that kind of pinky purple rock looking. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this quick tip. If you did, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.